Hello, it's Quinn here, and today we're going to be talking about how to get more of a reach or how to stretch farther on the guitar. So this is an issue a lot of my students tend to have is just kind of stretching out and getting a bit more of a reach. And a lot of times people complain to me, they're like, oh, my hands are too small or my fingers are too short to really get these really big stretches. And I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely true. You have tiny lemur hands and you can't make those stretches. Just kidding. You can totally make any of those stretches. It just really comes down to a couple of things concerning your posture. So there's 4 things I want you to think about. I want you to think about just your general posture on the guitar. I want you to think about your left shoulder, your left elbow, and then your thumb and wrist placement. So those are the 4 things we're going to take a look at today. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is just your general posture when you hold the guitar. So right now I'm holding this guitar, pretty much like how most guitar players would hold it. It's just on my right leg, it's kind of sitting here. This is probably the way you're playing too. Nothing wrong with playing like this, but if you want the absolute most stretch that you can, you might consider sitting more in the classical position, which is more like this. So notice I just grabbed this cushion right here to prop the guitar up. You can also just put the guitar on your left leg and hold it up like this. Sometimes people will put their left leg on a footstool to keep their left leg up. Sometimes they'll just sit like this. That can also work too. For me, it's most comfortable is sitting like this when I'm in classical position. And just notice, just from the very position that we have this placed, your left hand's able to reach a lot further than if it was placed the other way. So one thing you may want to try right off the bat is just getting more into a position like this, and you'll find that your whole arm is at a little bit of a better spot to reach out and stretch. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is your shoulder, your left shoulder, and the impact it has on how far you can reach. So I'm going to turn around to the side slightly here so you can see a bit better. Now if I have my shoulder pulled really far back, notice like my left hand can't even reach the neck. And if my left arm is like too far down or too far up, it also affects my ability to reach it. So even if I'm like over here and I'm up really far, this kind of lifts my thumb up on the back of the neck here, and that also affects how much I can reach. So if I turn back around this way, say my shoulder's up like this, I can't get my thumb and wrist under the neck in order to stretch out far enough. It's really uncomfortable up here too. There's a lot of tension up here. So when you want to stretch out a little bit further, it helps to actually kind of drop your shoulder a little bit. So if your shoulder comes down a little bit more, it actually allows you to reach out a lot further. So if I'm doing like a stretch like this, I'm getting this kind of like C add 9 chord, or if I'm getting this kind of like Alan Holdsworth kind of stretchy C sharp minor 9 chord here that takes up about 5 frets. My shoulder is actually dropped down a little bit here to help compensate for that. So if I'm up, I'm kind of hunched, really it makes that chord hard to reach. And it's putting strain on my elbow down to my wrist as well. So like everything is tensed up when I tense this up. So at the very least you want to try to keep your shoulder loose, but think about like actually dropping down a little bit if you need to make really, really big stretches. So if I need to stretch from like 1 to 6 right here, that's a pretty big stretch. Notice my shoulder is dropped down quite a bit here. Again, if it's up, it's like, can like barely get it. The next thing I want to talk about is the role of your kind of elbow and forearm in your ability to stretch out. So similar with your shoulder, if your elbow's too far back, kind of tucked into your side right here, that will also affect your ability to kind of stretch out. Now I might move it in and forward a bit in order to stretch out a bit more. So if I turn this way, I think, try to move the guitar around, if my elbow is too far back, it'll negatively affect my ability to stretch out. So I might actually move my elbow forward a bit when I'm trying to get a really big stretch. And notice like me dropping it down towards my left leg a bit, moving forward, that moves my whole hand forward as well, and I can make these larger stretches. So You know, if I'm in just kind of like bluesy kind of open chord position or something, you know, my thumb can be up here. It's not like a big deal. But if I really need to stretch again, notice my elbow actually moving forward a little bit in order to help get that extra stretch right there. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is the role of your thumb and wrist when it comes to getting a better reach on the guitar. This is probably like the most common area to run into issues. So first thing you want to do is you want to try to drop this thumb down. A lot of times people get used to having their thumb up here, either for like blues stuff. You know, nothing wrong with keeping it up there if you're doing some bends. You know, that's all fine and everything. And for open chords too, it's fine to have it up here if you're doing like a D chord, or even like you're trying to fret notes with your thumb to do like some, you know, kind of cool jazzy fusion stuff. But when you're trying to get that really good stretch, you really want to bring that thumb back around behind the neck. A good place to shoot for, if I again turn around here again, is the kind of the center of the neck. So your thumb down the center of the neck does a lot to help mediate those issues. So if I'm, again, doing something really stretchy, I'll go back to my crazy Allen Holdsworth chord. My thumb is pretty firmly down the center of the neck right here. For some guitars, they actually have a little line down the neck to kind of show like where the truss rod is. If your guitar has that, that's a good place to aim for with your thumb. This guitar does not at the moment, but it's pretty easy to find the center of it. Now, for like super huge stretches, especially if I'm getting up higher on the neck, sometimes I'll drop my thumb down even further. Like your thumb can actually come all the way over to this side of the fretboard if you need to, especially if you have like an acoustic guitar that doesn't have a cutaway right here and you need to reach around it. That can help quite a bit. A lot of classical guitars are set up that way. So for the really, really big stretches, your thumb can really come over pretty far. Like you know, if I want to reach from like 5 to 12 right here, that's a pretty ginormous reach right there. My thumb is like right along the opposite side of the neck right here. And I can get a perfect fifth stretch by doing that. And again, also incorporating like the shoulder, dropping the shoulder and moving the elbow forward too. Okay, so now that we've covered a lot of the basics of stretching out, I'm going to give you a couple really basic exercises to work on to try to increase your reach. So the first thing is just going back and forth between two notes. I'm going to start on the note G here. You know, just your kind of classic sort of trill exercises. But we're going to work on just trying to reach out one fret at a time with each finger. So maybe just starting off with first finger to second finger. Moving up one fret, trying to get from maybe 3 to 5, 3 to 6. Probably would stop about right there for my second finger. Kind of a stretch of a minor third is pretty good. I'll do the same thing with my first and third finger. Could probably go up from 3 to 7 for that. And then just kind of watch how your left hand has to change. And as I start getting those bigger stretches, you'll notice like going from 3 to 5 to 3 to 6 right here to 3 to 7, I have to kind of adjust again that left shoulder and that elbow a little bit to compensate for it. And again, probably the most important ones to work on are just your first finger and fourth finger in terms of stretching, because that affects your maximum stretch you can get. So I might start with 3 to 5, try to get that, then 3 to 6, 3 to 7. That's 3 to 8 right there. If I really feel like pushing it, maybe I could do 3 to 9. I don't know if I could do 3 to 10. Just barely. Probably would never need to stretch out that far, but it's worth maybe trying to go from 3 to 9 and just kind of watch how much your left hand has to change right there. So again, if I'm doing that really massive stretch, shoulders coming forward a little bit, kind of tucking in a little bit here, and my thumb is really dropping down to the side. Okay, so those are some basic tips on how to improve your left hand reach on the guitar. Hopefully you found some of those helpful. Like and subscribe if you'd like some more of these videos, or just like listening to me make music. Thanks again for watching.